who lay at rest here in Holland in this particular area that we're visiting here today. I'm going to read about Mr. Thomas Big Canoe. This is actually where we did the smudging ceremony, and we left the smudge to burn out in honor of Thomas. The 18-year-old Thomas Big Canoe from Georgina Island, which is an island in Ontario. It's from the Chippewa Georgina Island First Nation. He enlisted in the Canadian Army on June the 12th, 1944 in Toronto. After completing his basic training and reaching the age of 19, which at the time was the minimum age to be sent overseas, Thomas left for England, and by the end of December of that year, in England, he continued his military training. As many of the soldiers who did end up arriving in Europe completed their training in the Salisbury Plains. He did a medical test which indicated he had perfect eyesight. Therefore, he was assigned to a scout platoon or a reconnaissance platoon, which is a military unit specialized in doing reconnaissance and patrolling. Often behind enemy lines, his stays during that time in the platoon would be usually it would be in hours. It could be a day or to 2 days as they were out gathering information and bringing it back. Sorry about going off script on this. On the 9th of February, Private Thomas Big Canoe and other scouts are attached to the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry, an infantry unit of the 2nd Canadian Division. The regiment at that time is fighting of the liberation of for Western Europe and defending the Allied positions here and around Groesbeck. Operation Venerable on the 8th of February 1945, the 1st Canadian Army Offensive, codenamed Operation Venerable, starts. To clear the area between the Maas and Rhine rivers, British and Canadian troops fight in harsh weather conditions and open terrain against an enemy that is determined to defend their fatherland. This results in a grim battle that took much longer than expected and resulted in far heavier losses on both sides. The soldiers of the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry captured Den, Huval, and Wire at the beginning of the campaign, struggled through Cleve and the Moland Woods, and on the 18th were involved in heavy fighting for the Goch-Kalkar Road. Here the military operations bogged down in the mud. The German reinforcements stop all attempts at an advance of any further. By this time, Thomas writes home, which would be one of his last letters home, in which he refers to the winters in Canada and other good memories of home, ending the letter with "All my love, your son Tom." The Operation Blockbuster on the 26th of February, the renewed offensive starts once again. Codename Operation Blockbuster. Both the 2nd and 3rd Canadian Divisions tried to breach the final strong German defensive positions along the west of the Rhine and the Hochwald line. The enemy strongholds of Xanten and Sonsbeck were captured by the Allies in the beginning of March. In the early morning of the 8th, the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry soldiers are assigned a new task: to advance from the south of Xanten towards the nearby village of Beerten. Unfortunately, the Germans were well prepared for this attack. In the pouring rain, Thomas and his patrol advanced forward, but as soon as the 1st Infantry units followed, heavy artillery and mortar fire came down. Casualties were numerous, the numbers were high. The company that leads the attack only has 26 men left out of 200 that started. Thomas is one of those casualties of the battle. He is buried in a temporary field grave, often close to a casualty collection point and where the POWs are. On the 20th of August, after the war was over, he was reburied, and here is where he lies. This is his final resting place here in Groesbeck, and his tombstone displays the text that his parents left for him. He died so that others might live. Very meaningful words. And I'll share with you one last side note. I had the privilege of being in Dieppe this past summer, and I met with the only surviving Canadian soldier from the original Dieppe raid. His first name is Gord, and he was a trooper. And he landed in Dieppe on that raid, and he was able to be evacuated. He came back, and with his regiment, just like the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry, came back and liberated Europe. And I had an opportunity to speak to him because he was the celebrity. Everybody wanted to talk with him, which was awesome. But I did have an opportunity to speak with him, and he said to me, "We did it for a reason, and now it's your turn to remember." So again, an absolute privilege and an honor to be here amongst so many people that still care for what took place, and the strong words about talking about war once again. And I mean, you live here and you see every day and you care for these men that were left behind, and I'm personally very grateful for that, so thank you.